the casting is perfect.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to watch it.
I'm watching that 100%.
And The Last of Us TV show is coming soon. It's out Monday in the UK on Sky Atlantic. It's going to be amazing by the looks of things because the reviews are in and the reviews are really, really positive. If you don't know, The Last of Us TV series will be based on the 2013 video game of the same name, developed by Naughty Dog. The series will follow Joel, who's played by Pedro Pascal of Mandalorian fame, a smuggler tasked with escorting the teenage Ellie, who's played by Bella Ramsey of Game of Thrones fame, across the post-apocalyptic United States. The reviews have been overwhelmingly positive for the TV series. Rob Lean from Radio Times says The Last of Us is the best video game adaptation of all time. Stephen Kelly from BBC also said it's the best video game adaptation ever. And Simon Cardin from IGN said that it's a stunning adaptation as well. So guys, I don't know if you've played the game or you've just followed the TV series for now, but what are you expecting from seeing the trailer?
I actually haven't played the game. I have seen a ton about it, but I just wasn't really into story games when The Last of Us was like really big, so I never ended up playing it. But after seeing like the buzz about the TV show, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I kind of have to play it between now and when the show comes out, right? Like, I know I don't have a lot of time, but maybe I need to just kind of like pump it out. I think generally in terms of video game adaptations and stuff, like we've seen some amazing shows come out over the past like year or so. So I don't see why this one would be any different. Like everything that's come out that's been a video game adaptation that I've seen anyway has been like amazing. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what The Last of Us TV show is going to bring.
I've never played the game, and I don't know if that puts me in a bad spot to be able to say like, oh, it looks so good. But like from a film or TV fan, that just looks like I'm watching that 100%. I think the casting is perfect, like for those characters. From what the trailer shows, I can't fault it. I can't fault any of it. I know there's loads of stuff online that where people sort of, they don't like the fact that spores won't be in it and things like that. But I think if you read any interviews with the writers, they've really thought about it. It's not just a snap decision. It's like, how do we justify this in this series? And they spent a long time trying to make the science work based in reality, and they came to the conclusion that spores didn't fit in that. So whatever they've done to replace it, I think I've got confidence is going to be equally as good. But it does make me think, like, maybe I'll play the game. Yeah, maybe I will play the game, because that looks really good.
Well, that's what I said to Joe. That's exactly the point of the TV series, isn't it? It's to try and get people interested in the game and make you want to play the game as well. But I think the most interesting thing for me is just kind of how creative they'll be with the game, and whether they'll follow it to a T or whether they'll change certain things. You mentioned there about spores not being in it. I think that was a clear decision that had to be made, because having spores in the TV series, for people who haven't played the games, spores are obviously airborne bits of gas that infect you and turn you into the characters that you saw in the trailer. If you had spores in the TV series, that means that all the main characters would have to wear masks for most of the TV series, which isn't great for TV. So I can completely understand why those have been taken out, but they've been replaced with something called tendrils, so these little things that crawl along the ground and hunt people to infect them. So they've kind of replaced that aspect of it. I think that's the most interesting thing for me, because the game itself is a very kind of linear story, and you play certain levels and progress through and meet different NPCs and stuff along the way. It'd be really interesting to see if they follow exactly what they do in the first game, because obviously there's The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, so Series 1 will focus more on Part 1. So it'll be really interesting to see whether they almost play through as you do in the game. So that'll be really interesting, because we've seen other TV shows, not necessarily video game adaptations, but kind of TV shows that rely on source material. I'm thinking Game of Thrones, where they didn't have the final book, Winds of Winter, and you saw that the last two seasons was poor in comparison to the previous one. So it'll be really interesting to see what they did with that source material, and if they actually followed it exactly to a T, or if they did have some creativity in there. But I'm I'm so excited. I can't wait to watch it.
I just think that the good thing about it from the trailer is that, like me and Matt, if you haven't played the game, you don't need to have played the game to still enjoy consuming the content. Even as a standalone, like, you could probably just watch it and really enjoy it. Like, it's such a good piece of media that you don't need to know sort of like what's going on. You don't need that background. But then still, as someone who has played the game, I'm sure that while you're watching, there'll be like tons of Easter eggs, things that you'll pick up on that will make you like sort of feel satisfied as a viewer, knowing, okay, yeah, I played the game and they did this and they did this, and like, I feel like from both ends of the spectrum, you can still enjoy watching the TV show. So I think that's like done so well.
I think the thing with video game adaptations is you've always got a split crowd, haven't you? Because you've got the people that are really big fans of the game in its original form, and then you've got people that are fans of TV and film that you're trying to attract, and must be a really, really difficult balance to meet, to sort of please both sides. And I think one thing that was interesting about Bella Ramsey and her sort of journey playing Ellie is that she was told, I read this about 2 days ago on a, I can't remember where it was, but it was a reputable sort of film and TV website. She was told not to play the game because she hadn't really played it before, because they didn't want her performance and interpretation of Ellie to be brought from the game directly and just sort of be copied. They knew she was a good actor, they knew that she would do a really good job, and they wanted her to be able to sort of bring an originality to the character. And I think that is, it feels like a dangerous call, but when you've got the right actors on board, it's definitely the right call. So I'm really interested to watch it, and I'm really interested to play the game and sort of see where those differences are.
Yeah, because I saw people moaning on social media about spores not being in the game, and you just have to look at it from a TV perspective and say, okay, well, how do they get spores in there in an organic way where the cast don't have to, the characters in the TV series don't have to wear masks all the time? It just can't happen for them to be able to tell that story with that medium. So there's always that kind of thin line with TV shows and films and that are adapted off other source materials. Talking of a good job or bad job, also another video game adaptation that's coming to our screens very soon is the Dungeons and Dragons film, which will be coming in a few minutes' time, starring Hugh Grant, Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez. I don't know what that's going to be like. That is either going to be brilliant or terrible. There's no in between. It's either going to be sensational or terrible. I've watched the trailer. It looks okay. I don't know what that's going to be like.
I think when you watch a trailer and it looks okay, it's always like a bit of a tell. I'm sort of erring on the side of caution with this one. I mean, I'm not the biggest Dungeons and Dragons fan, so I wouldn't be the authority on it. But in terms of films, that cast feels a bit cheesy. Like, to me, so we just have to see then
I feel like it is a good representation of the game, though. Like, Dungeons and Dragons is either really, really great or like really terrible when you're playing it. I've never played it, but just from watching other people play it, it's either great or like terrible. So I feel like the movie can accurately represent that, I guess. Yeah.